मुक्तारो
कापरडा निध जाओ बोले
पावपणासनो
ओसियाना आदिश्वर जपिए
मंगलानं च सौवेसिं
नागेश्वर ना दर्शन करता
हवै मंगलम परमं हवै मंगलम परमं हवै मंगलम
राणकपूरना थांबला बोले
ओम नमो हरिहंताणं
बामणवाडना पर्वत बोले
ओम नमो सिद्धाणं
केसरिया नाथनो केसर बोले
ओम नमो आयर्याणं
दियाणाजी निध जाओ बोले
ओम नमो उवच्छायाणं
अचल गणना पहाड़ों बोले
नमो लोरे सवसाहूणं
अंतरिक्ष मा जपता सौए
एसो पंचनमुक्तारो
कौशाम्बी निकला पुकारे
पावपणासनो
हस्तिनापुर मा पारणु करता
मंगलानं च सौवेसिं
पावापुरी नु कण कण बोले
परमं हवै मंगलम परमं हवै मंगलम परमं हवै मंगलम
उवस्स गहरं तीर्थमावो
ओम नमो हरिहंताणं
केसर केरी क्यारियो बोले
ओम नमो सिद्धाणं
गुलाब केरी वाड़ियो बोले
ओम नमो आयर्याणं
अरिहंत प्रभु ना दर्शन करता
ओम नमो उवच्छायाणं
घंटे वगाड़ता नाद बोले
नमो लोरे सवसाहूणं
स्नात्र भणावता गगने गूंजे
एसो पंचनमुक्तारो
आरती करता भक्तों बोले
पावपणासनो
आपण सहुए साथ बोलिए
मंगलानं च सौवेसिं
अखंड दीपकनी ज्योति बोले
परमं हवै मंगलम परमं हवै मंगलम परमं हवै मंगलम
आबू ना देरा सर बोले
ओम नमो हरिहंताणं
बिराणी जेठाणी ना गोखला बोले
ओम नमो सिद्धाणं
दिलवाड़ा निकुरणियों बोले
ओम नमो आयर्याणं
प्रभु स्तुतियो तो बोले
ओम नमो उवच्छायाणं
दर्शन करता श्रावक बोले
नमो लोरे सवसाहूणं
प्रभु भक्ति माँ मस्त बने सहु
एसो पंचनमुक्तारो
जीरावलानी देहरी बोले
पावपणासनो
कर्म कापता भक्तों बोले
मंगलानं च सौवेसिं
यात्रियों नो जत्थो बोले
परमं हवै मंगलम परमं हवै मंगलम परमं हवै मंगलम
चिंतामणि मारी चिंता चूरे
ओम नमो हरिहंताणं
चंपापुरी ना शिखरो बोले
ओम नमो सिद्धाणं
चंदना ना हैया मा गूंजे
ओम नमो आयर्याणं
पुनिया आणि सामायिक बोले,
ॐ नमो उपछायाणम्
विजय सेठ सेठाणी बोले,
नमो लोरे सवसाहूणम्
प्रभु स्तुति उच्चारू हूँ,
एसो पञ्चनमोक्तारो
सतियो ना संस्कारो बोले,
सौवभावपणासनो
श्रद्धा थी नर नारी बोले,
हॅलो,
नो रंग मंडप
आवाज येतो का कातर सर?
हवै मङ्गलम्
सर.
हवै
येतोय ना?
हा येतो छान आवाज येतो विलासराव.
बर विलासराव नमस्कार. तेच मला आवाज येतो का बघा.
नमस्कार सर.
नक्की
नमस्कार
नक्की.
ओके.
खंदारे सर. नमस्कार.
नमस्कार प्राचार्य साहेब नमस्कार.
नाही रे काय चिडी बाई. राठी सर खूप छान दिसत आहेत बरं का. आणखीन मीटिंग सुरू झाली नाही, बोलू शकतो.
नाही पण बरेच जण जॉईन झालेत.
हो
जॉईन झालेत बरेच जण.
हो, ऑफिशियली आणखीन प्रोग्राम सुरू होतोय, तोपर्यंत
अच्छा.
बोलायला काही हरकत नाही. राठी
सर आवाज
सर.
येतोय का विक्पर सरांचा?
हो, राठी सरांना आवाज येणारच आहे, नाही येऊन कोणाला सांगते ना. सगळं आपल्याच हातात आहे त्यांचं आता.
हा, रिमोट कंट्रोल त्यांच्या हातात आहे.
हो, आणि त्यांनी दणक्यात सुरुवात
Hello.
हॅलो
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
हॅलो
सर
Yes.
नमस्कार. गुड आफ्टरनून वन अँड ऑल.
नमस्कार. नमस्कार. आवाज येतो ना सर्वांचा?
हो येतोय. राठी सर, विजय राठी सर आले सर.
हो आलो.
हॅलो.
हो, राठी सर आहे.
बरं चालू करायचं सर आता.
हो.
Good afternoon to one and all. I welcome you all the national webinar organized by Sri Asaramji Bhandwaldar Arts, Commerce and Science College, Devgaon, Rangari, and Srimati S.K. Gandhi Arts, Amlok Science and P.H. Gandhi Commerce College, Kada, District Bid, and Aurangabad branch of Vikasa of ICAI, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, and Department of Commerce, Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar. Today's national level webinar is Union Budget 2022-23, Implications, Boon and Bane. Today, speakers of today's national webinar are P.A. Vijay Rathi, ex-president of ICAI Aurangabad chapter, P.A. Kiran Kulkarni sir, general manager, finance, Garware High-Tech Film Limited, Aurangabad, and Professor Syed Azharuddin sir, head Department of Commerce, Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar, Marathwada University, Aurangabad. I now request Professor Vilas Khandare, Management Council member, Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar, Marathwada University, Aurangabad, to give a welcome speech. Dr. Vilas Khandare, sir.
Good afternoon, all of you. I am pleased to welcome you to the webinar on Union Budget Implications 2022-23, Boon or Bane. I would like to welcome resource persons of the webinar, chartered accountant, Vijay Rathi sir, Professor Syed Azruddin sir, General Manager Kiran Kulkarni sir, Principal Rathi sir, Principal Malkar sir, and all participate from various regions of the nation. Friends, within a today, this webinar has been organized. More than 300 participants registered for this webinar. Basically, हॅलो मोबाईल आलता मध्येच कट झाला तो मोबाईल आल्यावर
येतो.
For that.
नाही आवाज येतोय तुमचा सर चालू ठेवा
येतोय ना आवाज आता
हो,
within
हो,
a
हो,
2 days
बिलकुल.
this webinar has been organized and more than 300 participants registered for this webinar. Basically this has been done due to effective use of digital platform by the organizers. The union budget is the most important for every people of the nations, as well as budget is the pillar of the development plans which are made by the policy makers of the each and every nation of the world. Our finance minister announced our union budget 22-23 day before yesterday. In this budget, no any relief given to the common tax payers, though the share of common taxpayers is 50% in the total budget of the India, which is just 1% lower than the GST share of the union budget of India. So, more important in this budget has been given to digital education, digital universities, digital Indian rupee, tax on transfer of virtual assets, etc. My opinion is that by imposing tax on the cryptocurrency transactions, the government of India has made a legal currency to the cryptocurrency in the budget. As per my opinion, this is dangerous for general and common investors, as well as for banking sector and share market also. Today, on the behalf of Member of Management Council, Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar, Marathwada University, Aurangabad, I add my best wishes for successful and fruitful the webinar. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dear friends, every year, budget is much awaited event. Industry, business, common man, taxpayers, corporate houses, all wait to see what is new, what is there for them, what will be the budgetary provision for them, what benefit they will get, what new they can plan, which sector will get priority. Each stakeholder keeps their fingers crossed. Budget 2022-23 have been presented by Finance Minister of India, Nirmala Sitharaman, how the budget is going to affect on the economy. Is a question. Let us hear our speaker who are experts in their respective fields. Without wasting much time, I now request Dr. Vilas Ipper sir, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University, to introduce our first speaker, Vijay Rathi. Dr.
you,
Vilas.
sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. Welcome to one and all. In behalf of all these institutions, those are hosts of this webinar. However, the budget is the general statements, lengthy statements given by the government, but it will be give the right introduction from the experts from the financial sector. So one of the very eminent personality, that is Vijay B. Rathi sir, Chartered Accountant, Aurangabad, who is the recipient of Prime Minister, sheet by Prime Minister of India, Sri Chandrasekhar, in 1989. So he is the commerce graduate from Mumbai University, then fellow member of Institute of Chartered Accountants in India 2003, senior partners Messrs. Rathi and Bhattad Chartered Accountants Company, Aurangabad, participating at Aurangabad, Pune from last 10 years. He is the past chairman of Aurangabad branch, Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, ICAI, that is grabbed the best commendable branches awards at national level and regional level, as well as Vijay Rathi sir is the trainer to train the bankers and other credit societies functionaries, then conducted chartered accountancy career counseling programs at various educational institutions, fairs and college rural area also. So a regular speaker of various branches of ICAI and income tax, GST and VAT, etc. Regular speaker, we are always inviting them as a speaker for the MBA and commerce students. He is the visiting faculties of Management Science Department also. He has the 15-year experience related to this field, particularly taxes, direct and indirect taxes, banking and internal audit particularly. So now he is doing the PhD under the Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University. So I would like to request to the Rathi sir. So we are very lucky to listening the real meaning of the budget, which is explained announced by the central government of India. Please, Vijay Rathi sir.
Thank you, sir. I am audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes. Please continue.
Yes, sir.
Shall I start?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
First of all, thank you very much for inviting me to this national level seminar. I'm thankful to the organizers that they have given me this opportunity to explain. Secondly, I would like to say sorry to all the participants that I am not able to prepare my PPT as I am at some out of station for some marriage function. So I am not able to give the presentation. So I'll try to explain orally the best, whatever best I can do. Secondly, I would also request the organizers to finish my part of question answers, if any, if anyone wants to ask me, so that I'll finish it off, and I have some travel program which I can take over. So I think somebody
बाकीच्या लोकांनी
might
माईक म्यूट करा.
Yeah.
Now, yes, start.
Shall I start? Yes. First of all, I would give some highlights of this budget. According to me, this budget is very progressive and forward-looking budget. By forward-looking, I would like to say the impact of the budget may not be, you may not see it within this year only, 22-23, but in coming years, the impact of this budget, the spending of this budget will be seen prominently. I would say that very prominent picture will be provided in the coming years due to the spending, due to the huge spending projected by the central government. So this is a progressive and forward-looking budget. This budget prepares India for next stage of its sustained growth. Whatever the India is like projecting a growth, what they want to achieve. So this is a step forward towards that sustained growth. In continuation of the last year, even last year's budget was of same kind, that government has given much priority for public spending instead of other things. So this is huge spending government has projected. Around 39.45 trillion rupees government has budgeted to spend during this 1 year. Only in 1 year, 39.45 trillion rupees. So I think, according to my knowledge, this is the highest spending in 1 year the government has budgeted. And government projects the fiscal deficit to 6.4% of the GDP. 6.4%. So with this spending, government expects a growth rate of 9.27% per annum, which earlier, before the pre-COVID era, people were talking about negative growth and everything, or say growth of 4%, 4.5%. But government, by this spending, government is projecting 9.27% of the growth, GDP growth per annum by this spending. Not only central government, the central government wants the state governments, all the state governments, to spend heavy amount on the growth, on the infrastructure development. So central government has provided 50 years interest-free loans to the state governments also, all the state government. Maybe procedure, there may be some procedure, but with that procedure, the government will provide heavy funds to all the state governments for the 50 years tenure and without any interest. So again, this can be, apart from this 39.45 trillion rupees, state governments will spend additional funds for this development. Huge infrastructure development projects are there in this budget. Maybe the learned speakers of my next session, they will cover all this infrastructure growth and development and all. I am more towards, I am invited more to put some light on the direct tax proposals and other financial matters. So they will take care of the infrastructure development, but just I am giving the overview with respect to the financial figures, statistics. Government also has extended the ECLGS, Emergency Credit Line Guarantee Scheme, which was provided to the MSME and all. So even they have extended this with 1 more year for 22-23. This is again additional feature of this budget. If we talk about direct tax proposals, so in my career of 20 years, I have not seen such a small direct tax proposals, or such a few minimum number of proposals has been provided in this budget. regarding direct taxes. So very few, and generally they are not going to impact the common person. Generally, they are not going to impact the common person, the salaried, the normal business earners and all. That is not going to affect them. Many had that expectation that government will increase the standard deduction for the salaried people, but government has not touched at all. Then many has the expectations that government will increase the investment limit, which is presently 1,50,000 under 80C. So government has not touched that also, because in many of our memorandum, pre-budget memorandum, we have provided, we have recommended that looking at the current inflation rate and other things, market and investment opportunities, that 1,50,000 limit should have been increased to 3 lakhs at least. And the standard deduction must have been increased to at least 1 lakh minimum. But government has not touched any of the direct tax provisions except few which otherwise are not applicable or not relevant to the common person. I will explain few new provisions which has been introduced in income tax in this budget. Mainly, government has made a provision to launch a digital rupee. Generally, we hear about many times. It is a popular discussion point about cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and other currencies are there in market. Those all currencies are not at all recognized currencies. There is no government backing, there is no support from any of the government of the world that this is, and that is not a legal tender money. So to fight with this, that the trading of this cryptocurrency is at peak right now. Many people have started dealing in these currencies. So government has come up with a new idea of providing a digital currency which will be a legal tender money and which will be backed by the guarantee of the government, central government. So government, and that will be a safe currency, because that if it is backed by government or RBI or say any support, then it will be a safe, it has to be a safe currency. So by using blockchain technology, which is a high level security term, blockchain technology, by using blockchain technology, they will introduce a digital currency, digital rupee. Rupee is our currency, Indian currency. So they will introduce a digital rupee. So how that will be introduced, how we are going to use that rules and regulations and policies will come after some time, but that is their plan to introduce this. This is again one step forward in in the government's main agenda of creating a digital economy and less cash or cashless economy. So this is one more step, and government has introduced few taxation procedure for those other digital currencies, digital assets, cryptocurrencies and all, which are not legal, which are not backed by any government guarantee. So for their taxation, because large number of investors are trading in those currencies, so maybe on one fine day, whatever their investment, that may go to zero also. So to safeguard those actions, government has brought some heavy tax structures, introduced some heavy tax structures for those currencies. Any gain, if you earn any gain or any income by trading in those cryptocurrencies or digital currencies or various types of currencies, Bitcoins and others are there, So if you earn anything out of that, you will be taxed at the rate of 30%. In spite of in which tax bracket you are, they will tax it at the rate of 30%. No concessions will be provided. No any type of deductions will be allowed while calculating profit of these currencies, except the cost of acquisition. See, suppose if you have purchased that Bitcoin in say rupees 100 and the market price increases to say 180. So you have earned 80 rupees. So government will tax 30% on that 80 rupees. Suppose if you have borrowed that 100 rupees to buy the cryptocurrency or Bitcoin and you have paid interest of rupees 10, but government will not allow that interest to deduct from your profit, even though you have borrowed it for the for purchase of that Bitcoin only. So government has specifically disallowed all the expenses and taxed at the highest rate of 30% plus surcharge and all. So this is a big what you can say provision has been made in direct tax proposal to tax the cryptocurrencies, trading of cryptocurrencies. And one more thing, that they will, if you have incurred any loss during the year, so that loss can in income tax, generally loss can be carried forward to further future years and can be adjusted against other incomes also with certain rules. But they have not allowed this loss to be adjusted from any other income except cryptocurrency income itself. So this is one more important amendment or a new introduction of law they have provided. So this is one part of direct tax proposal with regarding digital currency, digital asset, I would say, cryptocurrencies. So introduction of the digital currency, digital rupee, one thing, and taxation of cryptocurrencies, digital assets, another thing. Okay, one more big relief or advantageous thing the government has provided is government will allow the assessee to file the revised or updated, they have termed it as updated return, up to 2 years from the end of the assessment year. Up till now, the limit of this is only up to 31st March, that is 1 year from the end of the previous year. So only you can file the revised return only up to 31st March of the next year. That is, if your previous year or financial year is from 1/4/20, 1st April 20 to 31st March 21, then you can file your original return and revised return only up to 31st March 22. In last budget, that limit has already cut down with 3 months. That is, now you are allowed to file revised return only up to 31st December 21. But this year they have extended that date with 3 months. So you can file your revised return up to 31st March 20. But now you can you will be able to file the updated return up to 2 years from the end of the assessment year. So you will get enough time or more than sufficient time to file your revised return if you feel that you have left out some income to be offered to tax. So this is a good amendment, I would say, that government has done. I don't think other than these two amendments, any other amendment is relevant in general to the participants. But one more thing is there, government has brought down the surcharge of the cooperative societies, various, many participants must be member of various cooperative employees, cooperative societies and all. So has provided some benefit by reducing the surcharge on the income tax of the cooperative societies. So the societies will have to pay lesser tax from coming year once the budget is passed. So these three main and impactful amendments are there. That's what I had said, that in last 20 years of my career, I have seen such a minimum amendments in direct taxes. Always we have to read this many books, or say up to 100 pages of the this budget bill. But this time we have hardly there to read 3 or 4 pages of this budget memorandum. So probably if something has not, they have not reduced your some offerings, so at least they have kept it stable. So you don't have to pay any extra tax. That how you can see it in positive way for this direct tax proposal. So this is about the direct tax amendments. One more thing I would like to say, that government has projected to spend highest of this year capex spending, capex target, capital expenditure, which we can say infrastructure development and all. That government has around 7,50,000 crore, 7.5 lakh crores, 7.5 lakh koti rupees on capex, capital investment, capital expenditure. So this is a huge amount, the impact of which can be seen in few years, say coming 10 years or 15 years. Then that the picture will be something different all over the India. So that will be a big benefit what we can see out of this budget. Then I would say there are few more schemes introduced in this budget. PM Gati Shakti, inclusive development of productivity enhancement, sunrise opportunities. That all those schemes and all will be explained to you the upcoming seasoned speakers. Again, that is not my part of study. That Azhar sir and the other respected speaker will explain you about that. That is one more thing. Now, few.
अरे बाकीच्या माइक
जिक्र करना था मैं जिक्र करा मैंने आप परेशान है बोलने एक चीज में
अब सर म्यूट करू शकता तुम्ही म्यूट सर्वांना
सर बाकीच्यांना म्यूट करून टाका
कैसे लेडीज को अपने से ज्यादा मालूम रहता बगैर बात
one more important
राठी सर इंस्ट्रक्शन द्या बरं त्या सर्वांना आपल्या प्राचार्य राठी सर
में ज्यादा बैठते हैं अपने से नंबर मेरे पास है बोलना मैं दे दूंगा वो बोलता है कि अगर प्रॉब्लम बोलो
प्राचार्य राठी सर आपल्या होस्टला सांगा बाकीच्यांना म्यूट करायला फक्त सीए राठी सर बोलतील
बोलू का सर
बोला सर बोला
यस सर बोला सर
one more important amendment. Government has brought at par to the state government employees to the central government employees with respect to NPS, National Pension Scheme. Earlier, only central government employees were allowed to provide a deduction of 14% of their income to NPS. But now even state government employees will have that privilege to claim up to 14% of deduction. Then to mention few more important points about MSME and startup. Government has planned to spend rupees 6,000 crores on MSME for a program which has to be rolled out for within 5 years, coming 5 years. So this again a big amount of 6,000 crores rupees. Then they have introduced few more schemes for MSME, like MSME such as Udyam, E-Shram, and NCS, ASIM portals. These all more and more new concepts are introduced by central government for this MSME development. Then government has one more very important feature of this budget is government has projected to build up national highway of around 25,000 kilometers in this 1 year. 25,000 kilometers. Just imagine how we will see our roads in coming 2-3 years. Government has planned to spend around 200 billion rupees. 200 billion rupees for developing this 25,000 kilometers of the highways. So government is spending huge, except sometimes what we feel that government has not provided any benefit to the normal taxpayers, the salaried employees, the small businessmen, but that is the direct expectation from the budget. But government is spending in an indirect way, the impact of which we all will enjoy. The spending of government on this budget, through this budget, we will enjoy it indirectly. So that huge spending, that's what I said in the beginning, that government is spending heavily through this budget. Then government has again introduced more 80 lakhs affordable housing units, and government will be spending around 60,000 crore rupees on pure tap water to every house. So this again, like government is spending like anything. This even internationally, after hearing this budget, the international reaction was like awesome. How government can spend this huge amount on developing the economy. That was the reaction from the many economists after listening to this budget. One more important projection in this budget is, up till now we have seen only banks has been attached to core banking solution, CBS, what we can say, anywhere banking and all. But now government has introduced, or government has planned to connect all 1.5 lakhs, 1,50,000 post offices all over the India through one core banking solution. So imagine all the 1,50,000 post office will be connected with one single software, and you can transact anywhere. Mostly the senior citizens, the retired person, they will be like immensely benefited with this amendment. That right now post office do not have any connectivity, any software. They have all the manual work. They have shifted to computer softwares, but yet they are doing mainly manual work. So now whatever you deposit in post office, that can be printed on passbook from any post office of India, because it will be connected through CBS, core banking solution. So this, I would say, this is one big step towards the digital economy. Then to develop startups, to promote startups, government has planned to provide 1 lakh crore 1 lakh koti rupees to the startups and the catalyst investments as a catalyst investment. So this is again a huge spending to develop the MSMEs, the small, the startups, to promote with new ideas and all. Then government has planned to develop 75 digital banks, the new concept, digital banks in 75 districts of the country. Then this is again going to make a revolution. Digital banks. Right now also we are on digital platform, online banking, mobile banking, internet banking. These all is there. So that has made our life very, very easy. Government has put one step further to develop a digital bank. So they will come out with the concept and the procedure and all. So we have to wait till that time. Then one more important aspect which my co-speakers will take care, but I will take only the financial part of that. That government has committed that they will reduce their reliance, their dependency on imports of the defense material. Right now, our Indian government is very much dependable for importing the defense material, arms, ammunitions, helicopters, aeroplanes and all, fighter aeroplanes and all, that we have to import it from other countries. So now government has shown their commitment that we have to reduce that. So out of total budget of defense, 68% of the capital of the budget, defense budget, has to be used to manufacture the defense material within our India, within country. So they will they are planning in such a way that 68% of the total defense budget will be used for indigenous manufactured defense material, and they will promote research and development in this defense material purchases. So probably these are the highlights, or financial highlights, I would say, of this budget. Earlier, few years back, up to few years back, we had a very high curiosity to listen the budget. The main reason was there used to be indirect tax proposals in the budget. Indirect tax proposals means excise proposals, sales tax proposals. These proposals were used to be there, and the impact of which, once government increases excise on some particular product, the price of that product used to be get increased immediately from the next day, or the immediately from the 12 o'clock in the night after presenting the budget. So there was a curiosity, but now the indirect tax has totally been taken away by GST, and GST entire the decisions or the entire authority of the GST is within the GST Council. So that is not only finance minister who can take decision on the GST increase or decrease in the rates of taxes, exemptions and all. So that has to be taken, that decision has to be taken by the GST Council. Hence, the main crux of indirect tax has been taken away from budget. So nowadays there is a lesser curiosity from the announcement of budget. Only income tax part is kept over there. But now in this budget, at least in this budget, the government has provided very few direct tax proposals. So that curiosity is further reduced. So that's why there is a less curiosity after budget, after knowing that there is nothing for the common man directly through direct taxes, because you all must be concerned with your standard deductions and all. But unfortunately or fortunately, the government has not reduced it and not increased that. So we are jaise the wali position. So I think that is all from my side related to financial aspects of this budget. Rest of the points are going to covered by my co-speakers. So I would request the organizers to complete my question answer part, if at all, if anyone have that query or something. So I would love to answer those queries. Thank you.
So,
Thank you,
Rakesh
sir.
sir, I have the
Thank
question.
you very much.
Sir, I have the question about the rural area. So this budget has not provided anything to the rural area directly, like the subsidies and like the exemption from the prices of supposed to the fertilizers and pesticides. So this government, before 15 days, it has hike in the prices of fertilizers. So in this budget, it should be considered from the union government about the farmer community. Can you say something about that?
Yes.
This is
Sir, I have,
apathetic part.
Yes,
sir,
Rakesh sir is continuing. Please take.
sir, shall I speak?
Hi, yes, sir. Yes, yes, sir.
Sir, I have already told you that the prices of the goods are not going to affect through this budget nowadays, because how prices will be reduced by reducing the GST on the product, fertilizers and all. So now this is the prerogative of GST Council to reduce the tax rates or to increase the tax rate. So that is taken out of budget now. Secondly, government has provided some subsidies related to fertilizer, I suppose. Some small part is there, which I have not studied in detail. Maybe my co-speaker will cover that. So government will
MSP will directly post to farmers' accounts.
Yeah. There are some schemes, or there are some plan of government related to farmers. I am sorry that I have not studied that, but I would say government to pay around 2.37 lakhs crore towards procurement of wheat and paddy MSP. So it is not like that government has not at all provided anything. 2.37 lakh crore, 2.37 lakh कोटी एवढी प्रोव्हिजन गव्हर्नमेंटनी ऍग्रीकल्चर रिलेटेड केलेली आहे. याहीपेक्षा जास्त काही स्कीम्स आहेत, but unfortunately I have not studied due, as I already told you that I am out of station with some marriage function which was pre-scheduled. So probably I may put some light after I come back to Aurangabad. So I'll try to make out that in very clear manner.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I suppose that it is
as a common man and a service person, Rakesh sir, as you know that the inflation is a continuous process in economy. Devaluation of money is also supporting to that inflation. But if we see that government had not taken any kind of decisions regarding increase of our tax exemptions, which are the bare minimum in the direct taxations, what could be the reason behind it that everything has been denied from them? Yes, just like a small question that everyone is asking now in the nationwide also. Whether it is being some political matter, or I think this has been kept to the side of now.
No, sir. See, finance minister has not talked anything specifically about increasing any exemption or not increasing any exemption limit and all. But what I feel that government want to spend through infrastructure more instead of giving this small help to individuals. Probably this may be the motive behind not increasing any exemption limit. Even see, we as a accountant community, as a business community, we were expecting that they will, due to inflation only, they will increase these limits. I covered this in initial of my talk, that we were expecting some increase in these basic exemption limit and standard deduction, some investment opportunities has been increased. So they should increase the investment limits also of 1,50,000. But government has not touched at all. So the main motto behind that is government want to spend that money through this infrastructure development, this capex investments and all, instead of giving it to giving a small amount to every individual.
But now this waiting period is almost 9 years, which is very high.
Yeah.
Because the patience of any common man, it cannot be sustained for the longer period.
Yeah. One more thing I would say, it is not 5 years because government
9 years.
No, sir. I will say how it is not like that. Government has made a zero tax amount for the income earners, for the net income up to 5 lakhs rupees. If your income is 5 lakh or less, then you don't have to pay any tax. Earlier, it was only 2,50,000 basic exemption. See, frankly speaking, basic exemption limit is 2,50,000 only today also. But they have given by way of rebate for further 2,50,000 that you won't have to pay any tax. So, but your income, if it increases even a single rupee from 5 lakhs, then you will have to pay on entire amount except that basic exemption limit of 2,50,000.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sir. Thank you very much, sir. Vijay Rathi, sir. If any questions, give in the chat box. After all the sessions, other sir give the answer of that question. Thank you very much, sir. After knowing the views of tax experts, I now request Dr. Vilasipar to introduce our second speaker, CA Kiran Kulkarni, sir. Dr. Vilasipar.
Thank you, Professor Ganesh Katar, sir.
Sir, yes, excuse me, sir. If you permit, I'll leave the meeting and I'll carry on travel schedule.
So, in behalf of all the institutions, thanks to Chartered Accountant Vijay Rathi, sir. So you can left, no problem, sir. I will continue this program. So now I would like to introduce the another speaker and eminent personality from Garware Polyester Limited earlier, which is renamed Garware High-Tech Film Limited, General Manager Kiran. So Kiran Kulkarni, sir, is the fellow member of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India. So he is the MCOM LLB, particularly my classmate from LLB. He did all these degrees from Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University. Now he is working as a general manager in finance, particularly looking after the costing. So working in the area of cost control, pricing, budgetary control, analysis, product-wise costing, etc. So now he's the chairman of the Institute of Cost Accountancy in India, a branch Aurangabad chapter. Prior to this activity, involved in the chapter activities, various various responsibilities like the secretary and management council member of ICWA, then provide the guidelines and teaching to the several functionaries. Those are working in this field. So he is participated in the various careers counseling programs, professional courses, counseling in the motivational Marathwada region, and even at Pune and other related colleges like the Garware College from Pune University. So, so he is my tablement. आम्ही दोघं एका विभागामध्ये बरेच वर्ष काम केलेलं आहे. सगळ्यात मोठं प्रिव्हिलेज आज मला इंट्रोडक्शन देताना खूप छान वाटत होतं. तरी मी ऑर्गनायझरला विनंती करतो की त्यांनी आता अनाउन्स करावं त्यांच्या भाषणासाठी. गणेश काथार सर, प्लीज.
Hello, may I request to Dr. C.A. Kiran Kulkarni sir, please guide us or researcher, teacher about the Union Budget 2022-23 implications on industrial sector. So, C.A. Kiran Kulkarni sir.
Thank you, everybody.
सर आवाज येत नाही.
थोडं फोन आला होता त्यांना.
हॅलो,
प्लीज किरण सर, प्लीज कंटिन्यू.
Sorry, and good afternoon to everybody. Yes, now voice is clear?
Yes, sir, voice is clear.
Yes, Dr. Vilas, voice is clear? Yes.
Yes.
Good afternoon to everybody. Especially Dr. Rathi sir is here as a principal. Department head, Professor Dr. Syed Azruddin sir is here. Dr. Vilas Ipar is my best friend as well as my colleagues sometime here in company. Ganesh Kathar sir, who are here. And most important thing is that 100 participants are here with research fellowships. Most of the entrants are in a ranging, and they are wanting to have an entry of this seminar, this forum. This is very good and highly appreciable things from the sponsors of this program, that very soon or very little bit time of this program has been arranged. So thank you once again. Today our forum is going to be discuss about budget 2022-23. As we know that a budget is one kind of our mirror, what we want to see for the coming days. Naturally, what happens? Previously, there was some certain limitations or SOP that the budget is to be made and prepared only for the 1 year. But as and when we are growing, now we are going to be enter for 75 years of our independence. And very soon we are going to be reach for 100 years. It means the Amrit Kalash is there. What does it mean that the Amrit Kalash? Amrit Kalash means we are going to be complete of 75 years. So becoming to this, government has announced most of the projects, most of the things in the budget for the longer manner. If you see that very few things are there in the budget that are going to be made, it has to be completed within the span of the 1 year. But the most of the things, the amount allocated to that particular projects is a very big amount. many of the times, many of the economic statisticians or the persons, those who are always trying to have their analysis of the money market, they are always try to tell that how the money is going to be come from the market to spend out this kind of big kind of projects. But government has taken one target that these projects will be deferred not only for 1 year, but that is for the coming 10 year, 20 year, 25 years, because we wanted to successfully complete the dream of our Mahatma Gandhi. The dream of our Mahatma Gandhi at the end of our 100-year completion of our independence. And that is the main backbone of this budget financial year 2022-23. No doubt all of we are now moving into the passage of pandemic impact of COVID-19. Very unnatural variant has came, and our human body has been disturbed with these implications. No doubt, because of everyone's cooperations, binding government policies, a good infrastructures of Arogya, everyone, we have become survived. Most of our friends have died, but very lesser impact has been came out. Why such things has been happening in India only? When we criticize to the budget, we need to see that our beautiful factors, 150 crores of vaccinations programs, which is the topmost in all over the area, has been completed by the government. And every of these things is happening because there is the proper planning of money and money's matters in the sections of government. So whenever we see this budget for the short saving, whenever we see that there is nothing to the man who is a servant, the persons of the common man sees that the prices of the gases are continuously increasing, the prices of the fuel oil or some other allied products are getting increased, but ultimately the money of this, where it is spent. The important part is that this money or the collective amount, if you every time there has been says that when the previous government was there, the crude oil prices was around 125. Now the crude oil prices of is ranging within the range of 90 per dollar, but the furnace oil or other allied prices are still higher than the previous governments. Where that money is going? If you see the complete infrastructures, now those systematic roads has been drawn out. Digital India has gone out. Health facilities has been increased. Digitalizations in the section of education is going to become now very soon. And that has been happened. Because of that only, I am sitting in the office and talking in front of 100 people now. Is it was been happening previously 5 years or 10 years before that? To just ask these questions to us. Not only to just criticisms to the policies of the government, it is very important that these kind of questions are need to be asked to ourselves. That how the digitalization and infrastructure facilities has been spread out very higher way. So all these kind of factors has been considered by the government when the designing of the budget has been drawn out. So because of that, if you see the systematically drawn out plot papers, the equal platform of the positiveness that is being required by the rural area and the area of the urban has been given by the government. If the infrastructures at the road platforms will reach to of my small village, I am living in the village of which is having the 500 numbers populations. I am came from that village. Now I am be in a position I can take out of four-wheeler from here, this place, and reach to my home without any disturbance. Is this kind of facilities was there before 5 to 10 years? I do not want to move much more in the political manner, but I want to come out with the reality. The money is always, आपण जसं मराठीमध्ये म्हणतो, मनीचं पैशाचं सोंग करता येत नाही. बाकी सगळ्याचं सोंग तुम्हाला करता येतं, पैशाचं सोंग करता येत नाही. शासनानं तेच केलेलं आहे. इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर्स मध्ये इन्व्हेस्टमेंट करून तुमचं कॅपिटलायझेशन करून येणाऱ्या 100 वर्षाच्या कार्यकाळामध्ये हा भारत देश हा अत्यंत उच्च पातळीवरती पोहोचू कसा शकेल याचसाठी त्यांनी त्याची मुहूर्तमेढ त्यांनी प्रत्येक बजेटमध्ये तयार केलेली आहे. दॅट्स वाय the thing which was happening previously, like immediately changing of the fluctuations in the taxation rates, like in the direct taxations, some compositions made in between, and the bigger discussion was happening at that times. A big economics, big like professional persons are coming in front of the TV channels and putting up their big headchi on it. Now all that kind of things has been abolished by these governments, and this is a good thing because we are moving towards creations of the infrastructures, and these infrastructures will always give as a one kind of backbone thing of our coming era, coming age. Otherwise the process of distortions has been started. Everything was going to be distorted. That this kinds of attitudes was there in the budget drafting. If you see the whole things, the things which are coming, the outlets made, the rates changes from the direct taxations, indirect taxations is out of purview of this. The only things I wanted to share all of this audience is that there is a nothing big statements regarding railway infrastructures in this budget. That is the only worried thing, and that is I have question marks about it, because one time railway budget was announced as a one special day, a special ministry was occupied for this, but for the railway there is only 2 lines of statements in this budget. This is a question mark, and all of which we have to be put up this as the commonly that something needs to be done here and special times needs to be allocated for the railway, because railway he is a transport big agency for everyone. So this is a key conscious issues for us. I will take as a industry partner of this. I am working as the, yes, as Dr. Ipar sir has said that I am working in the industry. So more things we will discuss about the industry and the industry allotments made by the government. Naturally, before going to the drawbacks, I have certain points I narrated here. Before going to the drawbacks, what good things has been allotted by the government in the budget regarding the Atmanirbhar Bharat. This is the one thing. Atmanirbhar Bharat means the homemade goods and services. The mobilizations in a bigger manner has been done. A good fund has been allotted to that. The basic meaning is that whatever the professionalism and the leadership of the skill setup is coming. The big meaning of this, the skill setup developed from the locality that is to be used for gaining and value additions to the GDP. As we've seen and in economic survey also, and when the Honorable Finance Minister speeches in Honorable Sansad, the GDP of our country is going to be reached to 9.5%. Gross domestic product, first time in the India, this ratio is going to be reached to the 2 digit. This is happening when all we are in the pandemic impact, COVID-19 effect is there in the economy. We know we are working in the manufacturing sector and very closely associated with the market driven. And when market is badly affected with this COVID-19, how kinds of tactics we have to implement to improvise our business performance, that we are very well known about it. But apart from this everything, as we affected in a second wave of the COVID-19 badly affected, but our GDP is going to be happen for 9.5% is a very good sign. Recently also our honorable finance minister had said that our inflation rate one time was gone for 6%, but this year the inflation rate is in a control and will manage within the purview of the 5% and below. So all these kind of signs is that we are moving in a very well manner to our economy. And because of that, they have not seen what was seen in the previously, and they have not given any point to the outside for just only for the chatting and chit-chatting purposes, but they wanted to create a something which is the backbone of the coming days. And so that's why the infrastructure projects mainly depicted fastly into this budget. If we see the crores of amounts, lakhs of crores of amounts has been employed, has been given for the infrastructure projects, as well as they wanted to have the good infrastructures for the defense ministry also. A very big schemes they have given there. Before going ahead, actually, we wanted to have a very glad and a very proud that the person of Aurangabad, Honorable Minister of State, Dr. Bhagwatji Karar is on the country's budget. If we could in the offline season, offline, it is now time that this is a very good time that we should have a big clip of hand. But now we are here on the digital mode. We can just assume it. All we have to be have a very proud, and definitely when Bhagwatji Karad is there in the Delhi, I think Aurangabad needs the DMIC enhancement that will going to be happen. Big roads, big connectivity, and the metro rail, that the ambitious projects will come forward because our person is there in the Delhi. So we have to welcome this budget in that manner also, that our person is there in the Delhi. That I am talking about the amount deployments made specifically for the defense. In defense, government wants to employ the scheme of Atmanirbhar in defense. Many of the time, many of the places, we have seen that we are depend upon the import or some other supports when very critical condition is happen at the time of border. And various security reasons, some of the things we have to be given to them, or we have to come forward here to ask them to work with us. So to avoid these kind of things from the complete economy, government had decided that we have to build up such kind of infrastructures at our end, because that kind of professionalism is here in our India. And government has announced the scheme of Atmanirbhar in defense, which is a major highlight for today. Our government is committed to reducing imports and promoting Atmanirbhar in equipments for the armed forces. They wanted to that whatever the equipments is required by the armed forces, that has to be built up within the span of the India, within our limit, within our designing, and our people will utilize of that resources to cater the requirement of defense. So this is a very big decision, friends, because this requires the complete commitment of political deciding. Otherwise, very soon it will be go into the hands of others. This is very big decisions, and we have to welcome this kind of long-term impacted decisions on the economy. This will impact not only to one industry. I will give one example of that. Previously, before 2-3 years before, honorable government has announced that uh, one defense manufacturing factory will come out at the Latur, which is situated in Marathwada. If you see that from 2-3 years span of the period, that industry has now started off its works. Basically, industry means it gives the employment to the nearer. The input of that industry is always taken from the nearer places. So whatever the subordinate industry needs to be created there, a path of that industry is always being created. The Latur industrial area is now becoming a very good hub for the defense parts. That money is spread nearer to us. Money exchange is going on. The money bank is going nearer to us. So friends, when money is moving surrounding to us, we have to welcome that the government is doing some positiveness to enrichments of our livelihood, our living of standards, rather than criticism to that. No doubt, some administrative matters may be there and some administrative things may there, but we have to welcome that this is going as a backbone for the coming days. We have to welcome of that this is the backbone for the coming days. In going forward, as a industry partner of me, we are industry working in domestic as well as in export. Most of our material is going to be export. So from last 2-3 years, we are facing some extraordinary challenges. The challenges like suddenly there is a lockdown in some of the areas, not only in domestic level, in the India level, but also at the outside destinations also there. There is a lockdown area, lockdown conditions also there. What happens when these kind of situations are there in the industry? Industry is getting affected with of its production. Lower kind of production is happening there. And once the lower kind of production is happening, as well as lower kind of input is also happening there, it means there is the chances to have the slowdown of such kinds of industry. The many time are we as the industry participants, we are asking government to consider these kind of things in the stepwise manners. Like if any industry is working in the backward region, backward area, the questions of that industries are somehow different manners. Like for we, when we are making an export, the question is arises how to manage the export of goods at the international destinations when there is a disturbance of logistic chain. How the logistic chain is works at the international part, the main backbone of these logistic chains are availability of containers and its loading platform. So nowadays, logistic is becoming the very crucial subjects for the export-oriented units. Those who are getting exported, we might have seen, and we might have seen that these kinds of statements are coming in the Economic Times or somewhere. But logistic is becoming the major parts. We are in a advanced mode that when we talk about this, we were expecting some positive things from budget, but we couldn't find that there is anything has been given in accordance with smoothly functioning of the orient export things from our side. This is somehow we have the questions to ask about the budget. But as a specially economic special economic zones are there, government has specially seen of their intentions to enrich of their activities to the destinations of increasing our export revenue. In line of this, government has announced a new legislations that will enable the states to become partners in development of enterprise and service hubs. Special registration schemes has been announced by the government in lieu of export oriented zones. So this is also the welcome matter from the industry partners. As in a continuation, as in a continuation with development of the infrastructures, government has also taken various decisions for enriching the digital India to boost up the economy. Uh, just like as a startup ecosystems and giving a boost to the drone systems. Drone systems means to watch on the agriculture sectors or where there is a very vestiges and damages has been occurred, and take up that pictures or take up that scenes and use this as the one of the supporting for the decision making. So this drone booster will definitely give the confidence in the face of the farmers as well as in the confidence of the persons those who are administering these systems. It will completely finish the loopholes between the government and the farmers because of these drone boosting systems. So friends, good some things are happening, many good things are happening. I have some remarks from the industry eminence or some politicians that I wanted to narrate here. After that, I will put up my own opinion and then I will come to on the conclusions. The most important things said by our Honorable Prime Minister regarding this budget for 22-23. As we know, budget is always having the uh, participations of various stakeholders. Stakeholders starts from common man, the general public, health services, educations, serviceman, and most important thing is the person of the living in the village, rural area, because most of our population is occupied in the village. Though somehow we came out from that and tried to settle in the urban area, but most of our population is still in the rural area. So considering these kind of things, our Honorable Prime Minister has given a very good reactions on it. Our Prime Minister says that this budget gives the strength to the economy. This budget is gives to the economy as well as award a opportunity to the common man. This budget also gives boost to the basic infrastructures like investment increases in the road or transportations, investments increase in the telecom sectors, investments increase in the solar plants. That is also one point of the ecological matter. These things will boost to the your employments as well as the investments. No doubt, after presentations of this budget, we have seen that our important factors of revolving of this budget economy are the stock exchange prices. The prices has been drastically increased after initiation of this budget activity. It meant that there is a positive reactions from the common man as well as there is a positive reactions from the industry as well as a positive reactions from the every stakeholder of these budget activities. Government has also emphasized that this budget is also gives the very good opportunity to other youngster youth, as a digital India is going to be ahead. If the investments will increase, the industry path will also increase, and the industry path will, if Atmanirbhar Bharat and such kind of things will increase in our economy, our local employment will boost to that extent. You will receive good opportunities nearby to your native place. So this is one of the things that government wanted to, that we should not fly more away from their livelihood. The second important reactions on budget, that is from the Honorable Finance Minister Nirmala Sitaraman. Somehow they put the reactions some diplomatical manner, political manner, that I do not want to reiterate here. I would like to say the only thing is that whatever the reactions given by them is complete with the political remarks on the Congress, that I do not want to take here in this forum. But one more worried thing is there that I want to tell to here. From last
हॅलो सर, आवाजच येत नाहीये तुमचा.
हॅलो
अरे त्यांना फोन आला कोणाचा तरी, 2
किरण
मिनिटं
सर
but when government has taken, I think I would like to reiterate here some of the reactions of our honorable senior members, and we'll conclude later on this. The important reactions from the honorable Prime Ministers of India, Narendra Ji Modi side. The reaction is very livelihood. Reaction is very notable. They said that this budget, will give a boost to economy for next 100 years. As initially I tell that when narrating of this budget is going on, the views was taken to have a, recently we are going to be complete 100 days of our independence, and these statements has been reiterated by our honorable prime ministers when the reaction is came out. The boost of the economy is employed a bigger amount into the infrastructures, and that infrastructures will be to align the creation of new industries recently. When the investments will happen, new industrial zones will be there. So because of that, the investments, then new industry zones, new infrastructures, all this will boost to our local employment. जो बेरोजगार है, बेरोजगारी संख्या इस कोविड-19 की वजह से बढ़ गई है, ऐसा जिनका कहना है, तो उसके लिए बूस्ट करने के लिए ये लॉन्ग टर्म का डिसीजन लेना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हुआ था. इसके लिए गवर्नमेंट ने ये डिसीजन ले लिया है कि मैक्सिमम अमाउंट हैज टू बी डिप्लॉयड in the infrastructures. Not only the infrastructures will boost out, the facilities will not come out. According to that, the allied industries will also get being initiated during the coming days, and the employment will be generated to that extent. No doubt, the opportunities which are going to be happen here, this is for the local person who is having the caliber and the capacity to cater of that opportunity of the coming investments. Government is hopeful that, our honorable prime minister is also very hopeful that this will be spread over in the economy. Likewise, the second reaction is received from Honorable Finance Minister Nirmala Ji Sitharaman, but somehow this is a political diplomatic reactions which has been given against the our then government Congress, which I do not want to reiterate it. But I have noted here some points which is against of this budget, and that points are many of the points has been issued from the farmers when the agitations was going nearby to the government, MSP and other allied things. Nothing statement has been made by the government when the agitations was happened there, and now that agitations is been winding up, but government has not been made any kind of statements in favor of that agitations or whatever supports they have made there. This is a question mark. It is really the question mark. They have said that the MSP is now going to be directly deposited to the farmers' accounts. No doubt, this is the right of the farmer, that MSP and that whatever the foods they are growing, that is the right of the farmer. That amount has to be deposited in the pocket of the farmer. But what about the other things rise from that agitations, which was carried longer way nearby to the district? This is also the point of worry. We were expecting something has to be come out recently when our reactions will go to the honorable government. Now, as usual, the leader of the opposition श्री राहुल जी गांधी साहब का भी reactions इसके ऊपर आया है, that I want to stay here. Rahul ji tells that there is nothing new in the budget. Just the jugglery of the figures has been done. A big amount has been said here. How the government is going to be call out that amounts for spending into the building up of new infrastructures? The question mark. The unemployment condition is day by day going. There is a not clear-cut answer from the government. When we read the entire sheet and budget finance bill, there is a only word in the whole budget presentation. The government will try to boost the employment to the extent of only 60 lakhs rupees. I think there is some alterations needed there into that part, and that only the question mark has been right from the oppositions of government leaders, Sri Rahulji Gandhi. Friends, this is my somehow minimum thought process which I wanted to share with you. Big amounts are there in the budget that I do not want to stay again put up here, but I want to stay this only with you. I asked now the organizers, anyone wanted to have questions on this or any others, this is the welcome. Mr. Ganesh sir,
Yes,
we have
sir.
to
Thank
announce
you.
that. to make
Thank you, sir.
who wants any questions from us.
सर
Anything?
मला एक किरण वेळ नाही वाला सर किरण कुलकर्णी सर महात्मा गांधीला एक प्रश्न विचारला होता का कॉन्फरन्स मध्ये व्हॉट इज द डेफिनेशन ऑफ इकॉनॉमिक्स तर महात्मा गांधी बोलले होते की वेस्ट शुड बी कन्वर्टेड इनटू द वेल्थ दिस इज द इकॉनॉमिक्स म्हणजे एखादं जे काही वेस्ट आहे ते अर्थव्यवस्थेच्या प्रवाहामध्ये आले आहे इथे तर बेरोजगारी एवढी वाढत आहे किंवा इन्क्रीजिंग द अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट इज द बिग इशू particularly in the rural areas. So what is the provision made by the government to reduce the unemployment, particularly from the rural area? And my second question is related to river connectivity of rivers for increasing the irrigation. There is no provision made by the central government for the purpose to increase the irrigation in the rural area, which is absolutely apathetic atmosphere created by the central government through this budget. Is it clear? Is it correct or not correct? This is two question from
Yes,
my
yes.
side.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Dr. Villas, if you remember, the then Prime Minister, Honorable Atalji Vajpayee sir has also made a one samiti for Jala, Jala, hey, under the leadership of our Maharashtrian persons to connectivity
Sharad
of two rivers. शरद नाही नाही आपले सारस्वत
चितळे.
बँकेचे माजी अध्यक्ष
माधवराव चितळे.
आपले हे होते ना सुरेश प्रभू साहेब first committee was been made under leadership of सुरेश प्रभू सर बट
ओके
म्हणजे इथे सर्व उपस्थित असणाऱ्यांना सुद्धा माहित आहे मी अगदी त्यासाठी मराठीमधून सांगतोय की मला सुद्धा जाणीव आहे की गंगा जोड प्रकल्प हा काही साधा प्रकल्प नाहीये त्याच्यासाठी कोट्यावधी रुपये आणि खूप मोठी मानसिकता त्यासाठी आवश्यक आहे आणि इथे कोणाचा विश्वास असो किंवा विश्वास नसो पण मी अगदी धाडसानं स्टेटमेंट करतो की हे फक्त भगवंताचंच काम आहे की त्यानंच करावं तुम्ही फक्त चर्चा करावी हे होणार सुद्धा नाही दॅट इज व्हेरी इम्पॉसिबल ते केव्हा होईल जेव्हा सर्वांची एकत्रितरित्या मानसिकता होईल की आपल्याला एकमेकाला जोडल्या जायचंय म्हणून आपण आजही पाहतो की आपल्या दोनच प्रांतामध्ये किती भांडणे आहेत पश्चिम महाराष्ट्रामध्ये आणि मराठवाड्यामध्ये तो विषय मी या ठिकाणी या फोरम मध्ये आणू इच्छित नाही पण हे काम फक्त भगवंतानंच करावं आपण फक्त त्याच्यावरची चर्चा करावी एवढंच मी तुम्हाला या ठिकाणी म्हणेन त्यानंतर द क्वेश्चन इज कम्स फ्रॉम द गुड थिंकिंग गिवन बाय अवर महात्मा गांधीजी खेड्याकडे चला किंवा ते कुटीर उद्योग करा ती when the infrastructure we grow basically you think why you came from rural area to urban area is because of we wanted to increase of our standard of living I don't think so 50% of people are still happy to live in the village if the bare minimum kind of facilities are available in that place like a good education health facilities, connectivity. So many of the things, many of my friends are now ready after retirement wants to join to of his native place. And this is happening now. Now government is also thinking that government has realized that if we grow the village or rural path, then the persons, those who are coming to the urban areas now are becoming very crowded that kinds of populations will stop at the villages level and will be able to grow up their standard of living because of the highly deployment of infrastructures to the end point. Yes, doctor?
Yes.
Yes, Ganesh sir, anyone wants to?
Anyone wants to?
कोणाला काही विचारायचंय?
हॅलो
हा विचारा येस विचारा या पुढे या विचारा येस रामचंद्रन सर
ओके थँक यू सर
Okay,
no
thank you.
questions is there. Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Okay. After tax and industry experts, let us now listen of the academic speaker. I now request Dr. Lakshakaushik Puri to introduce our third speaker, Professor Syed Azharuddin sir. May I request Lakshakaushik Puri to introduce Professor Syed Azharuddin sir. Dr. Lakshakaushik Puri.
Yes, Puri sir, या समोर.
Puri sir.
पुरी सर नुसतं हात वर करू नका स्टार्ट युअर इंट्रोडक्शन
त्यांना अनम्यूट करावं लागेल अनम्यूट किरण सर अनम्यूट करा त्यांना
Am I audible?
Yes, yeah, you are audible.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. It's an privilege for introducing such an renowned speaker, Syed Azharuddin sir. Said Azharuddin is a professor and head Department of Commerce, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University, Aurangabad, Maharashtra, India. He did MCom, MPhil, PhD, PGD, HRD, PGDBM, and Bachelor in Journalism. He has 30 years of experience in teaching. He has written 2 books on business environment and basic finance. He has published 54 research papers in India and abroad. He has completed 1 international project on tourism with Government of Maharashtra and Indo-Italian Chamber of Commerce. He is presently Academic Council member and Chairman of Board of Studies. He is a member of Board of Studies and RRC on 4 universities in India. He has mass media experience of 11 years. He is an outstanding football and hockey player, represented university and district teams. He has visited 29 countries around the world in connection with seminars, conferences, and projects. With his vast knowledge and competence, I respectfully urge to Professor Said Azharuddin sir to express his perspective on the Union Budget 2022-23.
Thank you very much, sir. Am I audible? Can anybody give the feedback?
Yes, yes, sir.
Thank you very much. At the outset, I congratulate Shri Asaramji Bhandwaldar Arts, Commerce and Science College, Devgaon Rangari, District Aurangabad, Maharashtra. Shrimati S.K. Gandhi Arts, Amlok Science and P.H. Gandhi Commerce College, Kada, District Bid, Maharashtra, India. Vikasa, Chapter of Institute of Chartered Accountant of India, Aurangabad branch. And Department of Commerce, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University, Aurangabad, Maharashtra, India, for jointly organizing national webinar on the topic Budget 2022-23, Boon or Bane. Friends, I will just give you a background first. Since you have heard the chartered accountant or tax community represented by CA Vijay Rathiji, and you have also seen CA Kiran Kulkarni ji speaking on the industry perspective and his own opinion about the budget. And since this is a very important issue, I will first conceptualize what is the background of this, how budgets are there, because I would like to inform those who are all joined to this, you can say, budget seminar, national webinar. 100 participants are on Zoom, and more than 200 and 300 participants are on YouTube live link. You can see that. So more than 400 participants are already joined to this. It's a very encouraging situation. In a short period, we have been able to come or brought the people together to have a discussion and also try to find out a new way how this budget is going to play a role in Indian economy. India or Indian economy is Asia's 3rd largest economy. And the target is $5 trillion by 2026. Also enumerated yesterday by our finance minister that by 2026 we want to make the economy $5 trillion. And today the size of the economy is $3 trillion plus. In this backdrop, presenting a stable and a challenging budget is a responsibility, because it is going to cause macroeconomic instability and stability. This is the background of that. So in the backdrop of late 2019 slowdown, recession, 2020 COVID-19 pandemic, it was keenly observed by each and every individual in India what the government will outline, how they will present their own role in economic growth and its revival in the post-pandemic era. This was a very keenly awaited part, that is the budget 2022-23. So some of the issues with fiscal consolidation, Atmanirbhar initiative, disinvestment, and asset monetization. You were expecting, most of them were expecting something. So the 2022 budget is a mixed reaction is there. It's not a goody-goody affair, it's a mixed reaction. A general notion that nothing was in it that would aid the average common man, a common person, can be a big question mark also. Because what is drowning is the common man is the debt, paying high premium and worried about the children's education in future. The middle class is a question mark which is left in the lurch. And how can the demand increase? We will see when we come to that point in the later part of our knowledge sharing. The pandemic badly hit informal sector in India, MSMEs in India, and services sector in India. So these are the broad classification. Informal sector, MSMEs, and services sector. They are to be urgently redressed, and the need of fiscal stimulus should be there. I would just remind the admin that if any request comes, tell them to join on YouTube link. It is available instead of accommodating in the first 100. Okay, thank you. So the urgent need of fiscal stimulus was there. And in fact, the zero relief formula for middle class and salaried class, as far as the taxation is concerned, have been highlighted and we have seen. So friends, before moving to the sectors, I would like to stimulate and I would like to share, because many students are there, researchers are there, and young teachers are also there. And some industry people are also there. Why budgets are prepared? If you understand this, then you will understand the earlier two speakers automatically. And you will also understand what I am saying. And you will be able to evaluate. You will be able to forecast. You will be able to understand what is the short-term, long-term implication of this budget, which has been presented by our finance minister on the 1st of February. So why budgets are prepared? The process of creating a plan to spend your money. Which money? Process of creating a plan to spend your money. Which money? Anticipating tax revenues, which the government is going to get. From where? Income tax, corporation tax, import tax, GST, and other sources. The government is going to get the tax revenues. And the possible spending which the government has planned, envisioned. It may be a short term, middle term, and long term. The proposed spending, expenditure for coming financial year. This is the crux of the budget. Proposed spending, expenditure for coming financial year. Example, health, education, defense, roads, trades, state benefit, infrastructure, exports and import, blah, blah, blah. So many areas. Now, there are three types of budgets I would like to clarify in short so that you know what type of budget the government is presenting. The first type is the balanced budget. If estimated government expenditure is equal to expenditure receipts of the government, government expenditure is equal to the receipts of the government, the classical economist, the term is living with means, and we call it in Hindi, अपनी चादर है जितनी है उतनी पैर फैलाना चाहिए, जितनी इनकम उतना, living with the means. The government expenditure should not exceed their revenue. That is what is the balanced budget. There is also a negative side. Why the government is doing this? What is the objective for the balanced budget? To balance the economy, to ensure financial stability, and the negative side is unviable at times of recession and do not offer solution to the employment, because if you go for the balanced budget and no means, extra means is there, so we cannot make a provision. That is one of the limitations in times of slowdown, in times of recession, and there cannot be a solution for employment if it is a balanced budget. So that is only for a year. The second type is surplus budget. When revenues exceed the estimated government expenditure. Now this shows the financial stability of the government, financial stability of the country, financial stability of the economy. And you see, surplus budget is mainly with the developed economies, because they have surplus amount from the revenues exceeding the estimated government expenditure. So the stability is automatic, and that is the sign of a surplus budget. And the third category, which you should understand very carefully, the deficit budget. Now, when estimated government expenditure is exceeding, is increasing, is more than the government revenue in the particular financial year. What I'm saying, the estimated government expenditure or the government spending, it exceeds the government revenue, what they are going to get in particular financial year, then that is a sign of a deficit budget, which is best suited for the developing countries, which is also best suited for a new name for developing countries, emerging economies like India, emerging vibrant economies like India. And that is why it helps to generate additional demand, boost economic growth, and increase demand for goods and services to help revive the economy. I have been saying time and again and again, during the pandemic, we had a lot of challenges. The challenges of how to bounce back. There was a sudden fall. And that sudden fall in the economy can be attributed to the V-shaped recovery. It is not possible. Sudden fall and immediate recovery, not possible. V-shape. U-shape recovery, sudden fall, and then it is taking time, and then it is again going up. So that is possible for the emerging economies and vibrant economies like India. Some of the emerging economies and underdeveloped countries, they are facing a problem of the L-shaped economic recovery. Sudden fall and it is taking time for them to come back to the original position. So India is not a party to that. Most of the underdeveloped countries and some of the developing countries are included in that L shape. But then a new concept has come, which also is suited to India, is W shape recovery. What is the shape of W? See this, a sudden fall, a slow recovery to a certain point, and then again a fall, and then a slow recovery to the original position which was there after at the previous level. You can in this pandemic say that a pre-March 2020 situation where India was faring very nicely. But then you have to also remember that towards the end of 2019, the slowdown started, and the first casualty was the automobile sector. Now it is coming back to its original position. It has recovered a lot in 20, it has recovered a lot in 21, and it has now come back to the track once again in the automobile sector. So I was talking about excessive expenditure to improve the employment rate in the deficit budget. Why? The demand should also be created. If the demand is not created, how can the economy move forward? What will happen to the manufacturing? All the manufacturing which is done by the industry, that will not be accepted. So here, to help revive the economy, the government covers the amount through public borrowing. Government does not always increase the tax. That is the income tax and other taxes. They cannot always increase the tax. There are some limitations. So what they do? They go for public borrowing. They issue bonds and collect the money. They issue the different types of, you can say, commercial receipts, debentures. And one more area this government has adopted is the disinvestment. And this investment in the public sector and raising the capital, which can be utilized for the deficit in the economy. So the components of the budget can clearly be demarcated as the capital budget and revenue budget. These are the two components. How can these two components be balanced? In capital budget, if you see, it accounts for assets and liabilities with the government. That is the capital budget. And in revenue budget, the total revenue generated and expenses met through the revenue. These are included in the, you can say, revenue budget. Now coming to the areas which has been debated very widely across India, and everybody is having a different perspective, different perception, different way of thinking. Let us see academically first, what is the background, what has been done previously, and what is done now. Look at the health sector. Why I am taking deliberately health sector first. The reason for taking health sector first is that it is the most talked, discussed, and attended area. See the last year budget, the allocation of 2,23,000 crore rupees, which was 137% jump from the previous year, because last year was the provision of pandemic we were making in healthcare sector, for which 35,000 crores for COVID-19 vaccination was earmarked last year. Why? Primarily to overcome the fear and boost the service sector like hospitality, tourism, formal retail sector, aviation, which need to be continuously rotated. Otherwise, if these are not vibrant and open, they will not only contribute to the economic development, but also they will create a question mark on the employment issues. And that is what the government is witnessing. We have the reports, so many reports from the tourism sector, from the hospitality sector, and the retail manufacturers or retail sector and their manufacturers. We have the reports. Aviation industry, the largest to suffer. Now it has come back, but it will be coming back to its original position only after they are fully open. The aviation sector will be stable. So health and sanitation infrastructure last year got 61,000 crores. And technically, if you see, now see, dear researchers and students, technically, if you see healthcare sector spending by India, just imagine, I will give you the classification and you will understand what is the healthcare sector implication. See, high income countries around the world, they are spending on an average 5.2% of GDP. So high income countries are spending 5.2% of GDP of their country. That is done by high spending countries, high income countries. The second one, upper middle income countries, they spend around 3.8% of GDP. Upper middle income countries, we are not there in the upper middle income countries. And this is something which the figure says 3.8% of the GDP spending they are doing. Upper middle income countries. Lower middle income countries, how much they spend? They spend 2.5% of GDP on an average. They are spending. Lower middle income countries, they are spending. And the last category is low income countries, which is spending 1.4% of GDP. That is the low income countries, which is spending 1.4% of the GDP. Now, these are the four classifications. 5.2 for high income countries, 3.8 for upper middle income countries, 2.5 lower middle income countries, 1.4 of GDP, low income countries. Now, this is four classification. India, before last year budget, spent 1.2% of GDP. That is before COVID-19. How much India spent? 1.28% of GDP before COVID. See the implication. Where are we? And what is needed for health sector? I'm not talking about a particular community, particular area. I'm talking about the common man. National Health Mission got a provision in the budget of 37,800 crore. Last year it was 34,947 crores. Only 2,853 crores are given more in the National Health Mission. It was expected that there should be double provision, 200% provision, or at least 100% provision. That has not been done. Why? We need to understand why. And I told you, before COVID, 1.28% of GDP we spent. And the same government which has presented the budget in May 2021, May, just 6-7 months back, Indian government spent 1.5% of GDP. The figure is for May 2021. We are still in between low income countries and lower middle income countries. Lower middle income countries is 2.5. May 21, The figure shows 1.5% of GDP spending by India. Friends, the figures speak for itself. It is the figure which has been given by the government of India. What is expected? What is required to be done? Everybody understands, those who are listening to this seminar, national webinar. We have to be very, very careful when we go for such type of planning. We have to live with viruses. We have to live with vaccines. And the challenges of 5G, fifth generation, is coming. And that when we adopt, are we ready? Are we ready with Industrial 4.0? Are we ready for implementation of 4.0? 5.0 is already conceptualized. The concept of 5G, 5.0 industrial revolution, it is already conceptualized. So the provisions which we are making for technology, it is the initial stage for provision of technology. The technological readiness is to be balanced in the economy. We should not be very happy that we are getting this much money for technology. It is the requirement, basic requirement, like food, clothing, and shelter. We cannot say that, yes, it is good. The beginning is done, but then the beginning should not be in one area only. There was lot of talk about digitalization, digital payment, and this and that. And this has been accepted worldwide. My dear friends, we are talking about digitalization. It is good. We should adopt digitalization. It is good. But do you know, in US, they are not 100% digitalized payments, not 89% has been digitalized. Look at the figures. Find out the figures. Only 89%. So how can we correlate the provisions and the things readiness? I always say the new economic policy of 1991, the permanent membership of WTO, which came into existence 1/1/1995, was only because of the 5-year plans. We had a basic infrastructure ready in India, and we were quickly able to adopt. We were quickly able to implement. We were quickly able to absorb. And the multinationals were able to come to India and do the work. It was possible because we had a homework. I liked one statement which was given by CA Kiran Kulkarni, that we are preparing for the 100 years. Correct? You are right. We are preparing for 100 years. But if you make a provision for eating in 2023, what will you do in 2022? That also has to be taken into account. That cannot be neglected. Long-term planning is necessary, but not at the expense of the requirement today. A very good initiative with the disinvestment push. Disinvestment and public sector unit privatization. I was very keenly observing the budget speech. And the new financial year, the budgeted amount for the new financial year, much was expected. But then the elevation which was required as far as disinvestment of PSU and banks is concerned, they have been sidelined because one good thing has happened. What good thing has happened? The revenue collection through GST has increased. The revenue collection through tax has increased. That is the strong point. But then utilization of that strong point should be in the proper direction, because today with what we require, that has to be taken care. Privatization of 2 PSU banks, 55,000 crore rupees are earmarked and it is going on. Shipping Corporation, Concor, Pawan Hans, BEML, a 30,000 crore rupee provision is there. That has to be initiated. Now there is a question mark whether the LIC IPO, which is for 65,000 crore, which is going to come in 22, what will happen? Whether it will come in 2 stages to raise $1 trillion. Again, the clarification is to be sought. And the question mark which has put by the earlier speaker, Mr. Kiran Kulkarni, is right. That has also to be catered. That has also to be addressed. The government has spent 6 lakhs crores on Manrega. And you will find that 2 lakh crore more has been provided for Manrega. Once it was criticized by the present government. This Manrega has supported at the time of pandemic. Long-term effect is there. Even you will be surprised. The Prime Minister, the Finance Minister, Home Minister, they have said that urban Manrega should also be there. Because if it is taking care or catering to the rural people, rural workforce, then urban Manrega is also, or urban Narega is also in the pipeline. I was expecting something from this point of view, but then could not see anything relating to that. Maybe in the coming time, this will be, when it is in the pipeline, it will come, but it has to come. Only rural people are catered, it should not be. Urban problem is also there. So urban Narega can also come, because already it has been hinted by the Prime Minister and the Finance Minister. Now government is planning to bring it. Let us hope it will come. Already some pilot schemes in the city have been started. And if those pilot schemes are positive and give good results, then urban Narega will come. A very good initiative, Jal Jeevan Mission, the project of providing tap water connection to 18.6 million households. And this was allocated 50,000 crore rupees last year. And this has been increased to 60,000 crores in the 22-23 budget, which is a very welcome sign. Because Jal Jeevan Mission is to cater for more tap water at their places. This is something which is a unique idea by the government, and this mission will be very much successful in the long run, in the short run also, in the long run also, when the targets are achieved. Both the speakers, earlier speakers, talked about construction industry. Students, researchers, I would like to tell you, construction industry has a spillover effect on economy. Why it is having a spillover effect on the economy? Because it is capable of creating jobs, creating income for millions of people. And if you look back at 2004-05, construction got only 15% of GDP, and it came down to 6.7%. And then increased to 26% at 4.35 lakh crore rupees last year. and a very healthy provision this year of 7.5 lakh crore rupees in the infrastructure in the 2022-23 budget. And I'm very proudly saying why construction industry will get a boost, because one of the participant or one of the facilitator is from my state, the Minister of Highways, the Honorable Nitin Gadkari ji, who hails to be from Maharashtra, has done an excellent job for creating an infrastructure. How this will facilitate in the long run? Earlier speakers were saying, it is imperative to support the construction industry because overall vibrancy in the economy will come. We cannot develop right hand only. We have to develop left hand also. We have to develop the whole body structure. So if we talk about development of India, it has to be all-round development. It cannot be a sectoral development. One hand or this hand or one leg or this leg or the chest. No, it should be an overall development. And the budget has shown that the government is interested in the development of infrastructure and boost the construction industry. That is what is seen. 7.5 lakh crore rupees. Very nice. And substantial one from last year. Defense. Oh, this is very sensitive issue. Defense allocation has increased. Government plans to modernize the army. The present allocation of 21-22, 4.7 lakh crore rupees. And this has come from 2 lakh crore in 2013-14. This is a landmark. Of course, it is good. No problem. If we want to make a $5 trillion economy and we want to take the support of defense and manufacturing of defense, manufacturing in the defense sector, are we going the way Mahatma Gandhi envisioned India? Now, are we going to prepare? Are we going to manufacture arms and ammunition and sell to the world? It is a need of a soul searching to be done. Only to take the economy to $5 trillion by 2026, you want to invest in defense area and more expenditure you want to do in defense sector. Why not other sectors? Why? It is a question mark. Why not other sectors? See, 5,25,166.15 crores. It is 47,166 crores more than last year. But friends, it is a good initiative. Manufacturing will be done, but then does it suits our economic agenda for the long term? Does it suits the ideology of India? Everybody needs to soul search. Everybody needs to discuss and find out whether our step is in the right direction. You know, the money directly does not come to the government. Only the taxes which are minimum, bare minimum. Here collaborations are there. Much of the amount will go outside India. How much directly government is going to benefit? It is not an industry where lakhs and lakhs of people will work. You need to evaluate whether we are going in the right direction. cement industry. This is very crucial one. Second most consumed commodity, my dear friends, listen carefully. Second most consumed commodity after water. And it is taxed at 28%. 65% of the cement produced is purchased by the individuals. And also large inputs are in the infrastructure projects. So as a measure for infra built up, RBI report has said financial position of urban and local bodies are reflecting tremendous pressure, tremendous strain. What is that pressure? What is that strain? The affected ability of towns and cities in India to build the infrastructure. The pressure on towns and cities to build the infrastructure. This has to be very carefully evaluated, and some relief for cement industry was expected, which is not prominently expressed anywhere or heard during the budget speech. Maybe in the coming days, some provisions will come. It will be a welcome sign because it will support the construction industry and the infrastructure projects. And we will be able to facilitate. Rightly said by the previous speaker, we need to prepare a, what you call, a network where the rural people will be connected to the urban areas to stop the migration. No need of migration. You can take the development to their places, to their area. Still, some of the problem which Mumbai is facing, people say UP, MP, Bengalis, they are coming to Mumbai, and North Indian people. No, they are coming. They will come because there is a need. But there is a migration from nearby Mumbai areas also, which are hilly regions of Maharashtra and very close to the western Maharashtra, developed area of western Maharashtra. There is no means of employment, no means of self-supporting system. Minimum amenities, roti, kapda, makan, not there. They are migrating. 5 people living in the villages and 1 person going and working in Mumbai and feeding them. Meager resources. This has to be catered. And for this, the government plans, and it is a welcome sign, they want to bring the bonds and to replace the bank guarantee in the coming time. You will find that Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, which had a provision of 14,000 crore in 2021-22, this has increased to 19,000 crore rupees in 2022-23. Very good thing that Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, because rural connectivity is very much important. Even the tandas, not only villages, tandas should also be connected. And many rural-based occupation and rural-based economic activity can be undertaken by these people and easily taken to the market where they can sell it, and the economic activity can generate the income for those people living in rural area, living in tandas, living in villages, and supporting the economy and supporting themselves by gainful employment. Road transport and highway, 1,99,107 crores, one of the best ministries which are of Government of India, fortunately headed by Shri Nitin Gadkari ji from Maharashtra. A very nice ministry which is doing good work of preparing a network in India. Network for joining the states. network for joining the villages to the center. A report said that a substantial 4.7 lakh crore or 2% of GDP is with the RBI. And they are essentially unspent funds. And those funds which are with RBI, which are unspent, they can be brought into the mainstream. That unspent amount and some disinvestment, they can be clubbed, or this can be used and disinvestment can be delayed, because some of them, they are profit making units, they can be delayed. The problem lies in execution. Planning is very nice. On paper, the planning is very nice. Indians are considered to be the best planners in the world, or the top ranking planners in the world. And when it comes to execution, various departments and states have missed their expenditure targets. They are not able to complete those targets. One more area where government is very keenly watching, and people around the world and Indian people, Indian businesses, are a chemical sector. It is emerged as the great wealth creator in India. And the sector is in focus with the policy of China plus one policy. I will explain what is China plus one policy. Friends, during pandemic, you will find that many chemical industries have closed down, because more than 75% of the raw material was coming from China. And most of the production in the chemical industries was affected because some of the chemicals was coming, raw material was coming from China. So some of them fully affected and some of them partially impacted. And that is why the government has said, government has decided, not only government of India, the Europe and other countries of the world, they have decided to follow China plus one policy. If China is sending something, take it, no problem, we need it. We cannot avoid it. But then with China, you should have an option. China plus one. Some other option should be there, so that in case if China tries to blackmail, we should be ready with the option. So adopted by the companies across the world to play down the dominance of China. You can see recent fertilizer shortage. This kept the agrochemical companies in headlines all over the India. That is why the government has said and made a provision in the 2022-23 budget for chemical and fertilizer ministry. And that was put up to 1,07,715.38 crore rupees, which has been earmarked for 2022-23 budget for chemical and fertilizer ministry. And with this and China plus one policy, we will be able to bring some stability in the chemical sector or chemical industry. Agriculture, which is very dear to us, which is very near to us. Why some people are saying that nothing is there for common man? The reason for nothing is there for common man is that agricultural weightage has been given, but in a different way. How you will find it? See, agriculture provision is 1,32,513 crore rupees. And this is mainly for the facilitating of technology. Like Mr. Kiran Kulkarni said, use of the drone as a service. Using drone for surveying, surveying. It will be used as a spraying insecticide. And digitalization of the land records. It is a welcome sign. which you are spending in agriculture area or agriculture ministry, through agriculture ministry. Because there is one more provision in the industry where agri startup, which was required at large level, is not given that much weightage, but there is a provision. So a boost with technology. One very good thing which the government has done, they have corrected one bad decision. Earlier, they took one very bad decision of importing oil seed. And this oil used to come from Indonesia, Malaysia. Academicians, researchers, students, everybody will not understand the basic logic why they have stopped importing from the, yes, palm oil, correct, from Indonesia, Malaysia. Why they have stopped? They have stopped because they have some equations. And that decision, when we find that the oil prices in India are rising, there is a twofold effect. One, the import is stopped. And second, shifting from the Bengal to the other part of India. This is again a very strategic decision. You cannot do this. You can develop it all round. You cannot just shift this facility. A very crucial decision has been taken. But then that for that wrong decision, already people are suffering. They are paying twice the price of the oil. They are paying to the seller. So common man is impacted since 1.5 years. Since the oil prices are rocketing up. So we need to address these things. How this can be come down? It is good we are planning for 100 years. But then what is this today? How this problem will be solved? That is why for correcting that, government has made the provision in this budget for the oil dependency, to remove the oil dependency and create our own oil resources and produce indigenously in India only. And it is a step in the right direction in the agriculture sector. But then what about the sufferings of the people, and to what time it will balance? When it will come back to its original position? Because one increase in the oil prices, that is the basic thing that will impact other areas also. If you increase the cosmetic rates, it is not affecting a common man. Those who have income, they afford the cosmetics. And that is due to the rise in the crude oil prices. Oil is involved in making of those cosmetics. So we are not concerned with that. We are not concerned with the cosmetics. We are concerned with the oil which is consumed by the common man. Food and public distribution, 2,17,684 crores. This was necessary and a very good initiative has been done. Again, I would like to say urban Narega, sooner the better, because the pilot survey is giving positive impact, positive results that should be implemented in the near future, very soon. Manufacturing and MSME. Nobody will say how much is the contribution to the GDP by manufacturing sector. It is only 17% plus contribution to the GDP of India, out of the 30% which is contributed by industry. 17%. And we have a target of 25% up to 2025. The present government has fixed the target of 25% of manufacturing to the GDP by 2025 from 17% in the 5 years. And how it will be possible? It will not be possible with defense, because that will only give the figures. The other manufacturing area where we are very much involved, see, automobiles, more than 70% spare parts are being imported from outside. Still a wide gap is there. That is to be catered. Of course, a very good initiative has come. I will point it to you when we talk about that. So, emergency credit line of 5,000 crore provision. This has been done for MSME, and which is also including in the umbrella the hospitality and related sector also with MSME. So emergency credit line will be a very good initiative which will have a very positive result on the economy and in the budgeted year of 22-23. Not in the long term, but the budgeted year 22-23, because the post-pandemic balance is required. And we have started from demonetization. The problem is from that side. It started from there. Now it is subsiding, but still we have not come back to the tiny and small sector that has not come back to its original position. The cottage industry is not again back on the track. That has to be catered. So here the extension of startup liability, tax liability for 1 more year again is a good sign, but the core sector need 5 years tax holiday. Not in under 5 years, for more stability. So this 1 year is a good sign for MSME and small scale sector or startup. But then more stability will come only when a core sector will get 5 years tax holiday. A very good initiative. I liked it in the solar energy area. In future, $2.6 billion provision to boost the local manufacturers of solar modules. And this is to cut China imports. I have been saying repeatedly, solar energy is there, the energy of future. What we are lacking, what India is lacking is the know-how, the technology for tapping the solar energy. We don't have it, indigenous technology. We need to build it. How can we survive without indigenous technology? Apni technology chahiye. Hindustani technology chahiye. General Electric has a laboratory in Bangalore with 1,500 engineers and scientists. They are working there to make the products which are very expensive all around the world, to make the cheaper version of that product in India, so that it will be supplied to the underdeveloped and the developing economies. Same product which is there expensive in the developed country, the version will be changing and a new version in India will be developed. Same can be done with the solar modules. At least these companies, they can go for research and development. Indigenous technology is required. Otherwise, the profit will go out. It is not very easy to stop China, because China and India both are founder members of WTO. Anti-dumping duty has been revoked, cancelled on the steel imported, including China, where there is no need of importing the steel. Indian steel is the best steel in the world. Why we are importing the steel from other countries? Why don't we produce? Why the planning is not being done? Why we want to import? If we import, we increase the balance of payment position. We have to pay them in their currency. Our rupee is depreciating because of that. Balance of payment position should increase now. So anti-dumping duty you are reducing. Okay, to support some of the industry, but there will be a negative impact as well. It will not be positive always in this sector. That is why the initiative which has been taken by the government needed good governance. Why I'm talking about good governance? Okay, before I talk about good governance and deficit, I will take one more point and then come to that and I'll finish. See, the textile industry in India is very vibrant. And the bright future is for the textile industry. The target of 100 billion in exports in the next 5 years is a very good target. And at least $65 billion export we can do in the next 5 years. So what can be exported? If we produce here and compete with the other exporters, and then we will export. Otherwise, it is not possible. In textile, Bangladesh is giving us competition. So here, a very important policy need to be enumerated for textile industry. Of course, the producers have started China Plus One policy, which is favoring India as far as textile industry is concerned. But then when 100 billion is the demand in the next 5 years, at least with the capacity with which India is having, we can go for $50 to $65 billion export in India. If it is done, then we will become a strong economy. The fruits can be distributed, the revenue can be distributed to the other sectors of the economy. And the last thing which I would like to say is that an initiative for good governance is required. I am not saying anything about the government. What statement I am giving? An initiative is needed for good governance. It has been pointed out by IMF. It has been pointed out by World Bank. It has been pointed out by financial institutions all around the world who are financing the Indian government. And how it can be good governance, how we can cater to that, it is reflected in the fiscal target. The fiscal target is very important. Fiscal deficit is very important. So the government has set the fiscal deficit, the shortcoming, at 6.4% in 2022-23. Fiscal target 2022-23. And this is only due to the more tax collection which government has been motivated to do that, because government has collected much tax, and it is very much optimistic, very much positive that if this is the incoming of the tax revenue, then we can go for reducing the fiscal deficit, government spending, which was 6.8% in November 21, just 3 months back. And that is why the target of 6.4% in 22-23 has been fixed as the fiscal deficit. No problem. We need the provisions. Because when we go for a balanced budget, we don't have a provision which cannot make a provision. And we have the areas also from where the money can come. Disinvestment is there, tax collection is there. And more tax collection and more disinvestment, then again raising the green bonds can also meet the expenses. I'm not talking about the surplus which is there with the RBI. Unspent amount, reserved amount. I'm not talking about that. That can be kept in the reserve. If needed, we can bring it. But only for the necessary things, not for the unnecessary things. So in this backdrop, a mixed reaction of good and an average, the budget is going to impact in the coming economy. And as I told you, we are good planners, very bad implementers. If what is planned is done, results for medium and long term will come. And there can be more provision for Atmanirbhar and 100 years planning in the future, but not today. We have to be very, very critical. We have to have a cognitive thinking, not emotional thinking, cognitive thinking. And it should be on the reality base. Then only the results will come. And I'm sure that the academia will not keep quiet. Academia will point out, research will point out what is there and what is needed to be done in the coming days. So I, at the onset, would like to thank the organizers for giving me a chance to express my views on the budget, which I have deliberately done in a very different manner. Instead of playing with the figures, how this can be implemented and what effect it will have on the short term, medium term, and long term on the Indian economy. Thank you very much. Thank you one and all.
कोण आहेत बरं का आपले बरं का सर नंदकुमार राठी आहेत बरं का अमोल कल्याणकर नवनाथ कराळे
Doctor sir.
A question is asked on the cryptocurrency.
फक्त बरं का
So
I would like to tell you that it is a societal, it is a societal effort.
So other
you cannot make any provision without a legal framework. 1% tax and 3% on the income generated from crypto. The losses cannot be redressed. If there is a loss, where you will go? To whom you will ask that we have a loss from the cryptocurrency? So a lot has to be done. Don't be emotional and invest in that. Instead, you make the Indian stock market strong. Go and invest in the equity, make them strong. Invest in, you can say, mutual funds, make them strong. And you can go for portfolio preparation by distributing the surplus income in the investment. Thank you. Any other question, you can just type it. I will be able to see. Because we are already 10-15 minutes ahead of our schedule. Because both the earlier speakers, they, yes, is it a boon or a bane? It is also a boon and also a bane because the balancing act was much needed. So balancing is partially done. Some more balancing act needs to be done. So that will be not a bane, but a disadvantage in the coming days. So that disadvantage may turn into losses also. So it will be a short of target also. We cannot compute in the terms of profit and losses, but then it will be a disadvantage to a emerging economy like India, where we are having lot of competition from outside. Giving marks to the budget is not a proper way of evaluating. It is not a question. It is a boon for big corporate and bane for middle class. That is the view which you have said. Many have said this, and it is partially accepted also, because the balancing act have not been done properly. Some of the things which are which have been done is for the long term only. So because of the long term, you are not seeing the results in the short and medium term. That is what is the bottleneck of this budget. But then we have to live with it. We cannot avoid those things. But then some things are there which are to be redressed in time only. After the time passes, you cannot go for a redressal. मुझे आज भूख लगी है और मुझे खाना कल देंगे तो मुझे चलेगा नहीं. So we have to be very careful when we implement and when we plan, when we organize and when we implement. So thank you very much because we are continuously coming with questions. Too many questions we cannot take. So thank you very much the organizers for inviting me and sharing my views and also taking up some questions and contribution from the participants who are connected to this national webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for providing an in-depth analysis and budget perspectives to our students, teachers, and researchers. Before I call upon Dr. N.T. Gauli, sir, IQSC coordinator, yes, Srimati S.K. Gandhi Arts, Amlok Science, and P.H. Gandhi Commerce College, Kada. For vote of thanks, one announcement is there. I request all the participants to fill feedback form and the certificate will come on your email after filling feedback form. Since the response is tremendous, 100 certificates per day will be sent to participants on email. Now I request Dr. N.T. Gauli to propose vote of thanks. Dr. N.T. Gauli.
Thank you very much, sir. On behalf of Principal Dr. N.S. Ratty from Srimati S.K. Gandhi Arts, Amolak Science, and P.H. Gandhi Commerce College, Kada, I am taking this opportunity to propose the vote of thanks for today's national webinar on Union Budget 2022 to 2023 Implications, Boon or Bane, organized by ICWAC, Department of Commerce and Department of Economics from S.K. Gandhi Arts, Amolak Science, and P.H. Gandhi Commerce College, Kada, and Shri Asaramji Bandwalkar Arts, Commerce and Science College, Devgaon, Rangari, in association with Department of Commerce from Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University, Aurangabad, and WIRC of ICAI and WICASA of ICAI, Aurangabad. We are very much thankful. I am always indebted to Sri Amolak Jain Vidya Prasarak Mandal, Kada, and its honorable members of management, and also Sri Ganesh Shikshan Sanstha for their competitive support to organize this national webinar. Mr. Vijay Ratty, who is a CA, in spite of his busy schedule, has shared his valuable thoughts about taxation in this national webinar. Sir, we are very thankful to you for sharing your valuable time with us. Again, a dynamic and friendly personality, Professor Syed Azruddin, Head Department of Commerce from Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University, Aurangabad, focused the budget by considering the common man in an effective way and with crucial language. Sir, we are very much delighted by your talk. Thank you very much, sir. Then thirdly, Mr. Kiran Kulkarni, who is also a CA and playing the role of a general manager for finance for Garware High Tech Films Limited, Aurangabad, explained the importance of budget with reference to industry implications. It is very useful talk to all of us. We are very thankful for being with us on this occasion. I am also grateful to Principal Dr. N.S. Rathi and in charge Principal Dr. Krishna Malkar for having this idea to organize this national webinar by using online platform. I also sincerely thank to Dr. J.M. Bhandari, Vice Principal from Srimati S.K. Gandhi Arts, Amolak Science and P.H. Gandhi Commerce College, Kada, and Professor Vilas Khandare, who is a co-convener of this national webinar, and also Management Council member from Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University, Aurangabad, for his welcome speech and working for this webinar. We also acknowledge the efforts. We also acknowledge the efforts of Dr. Vilas Ipar sir, Dr. Ganesh Kathar sir, and Dr. Puri sir for introducing today's renowned speakers to all the participants in our national webinar. On behalf of all the participants, I record my gratitude to ICWAC coordinator, Mr. Gauri NT, also Department of Commerce and Department of Economics, along with Department of Economics for putting their efforts together for such wonderful organization from both the colleges. Last but not least, I also thank to all the participants who made this event memorable by their participation. Thank you very much. Apart from that, I also thank Mr. Hasai SR, Assistant Professor from Department of Commerce from Gandhi College, for giving us an opportunity to use this online platform. Again, I'm very thankful to all the persons. Indirectly, I'm sorry, it may be possible by my side to forget the names of some of the participants who have taken the effort to make it memorable or not. So again, I thank all such kind of participants for participation and their cooperation to participate in this national webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you one and all for your participation. I declare the conclusion of the seminar. Thank you very much.